Hey there, welcome back on site, and a lot's been going on this week. We're getting ready to pour our slab on Monday morning. This is Saturday. It was a busy day here this week. My family and we have all been at a summer youth camp that I'm involved with helping to run and facilitate. So haven't been on site a lot this week, but want to catch up, show you a few details here in the under slab work as we get ready to pour, because there's something that I think you should be aware of if you're in the process of building. So I want to talk to you about the detail that you see behind me here with our insulation here at the corner. And ideally, if you have a perfect case scenario where you have an unlimited budget and you want to have things as efficient as you possibly can, what you really want to do is you would put 4 inches of under slab insulation, and you would have that insulation coming up the side and what's called a thermal break. So essentially your whole structure is wrapped in isolation or insulation, and that's separate from everything inside. And so we had looked at that. If we were going to do that, it would make sense to just put the tubing in for radiant heat, but it kind of became cost prohibitive for us to do that. And so the reason that we didn't do that is in part because we have the sun, this is the south behind me, and we got a lot of windows, and so I'm anticipating that we're going to get a pretty significant solar heat gain in the wintertime. That slab is going to warm up. It'll hold that heat. It will radiate that heat in there as well. So we're kind of going to have some of that natural radiating heat that you would get from radiant heat anyway. But if people are putting in radiant in-floor heating, at a minimum, they're going to put 2 inches of this rigid foam underneath. Sometimes you see people do spray foam. That's a pretty cool application. There's some good rationale for that. But I want to show you what we did here and why we did that. So what you'll notice is we have added this insulation here right at the corner. Now this is to the spot where we are on grade. And so what's going on here, you'll notice there's a 45 degree. Now below this, we have a stem wall. The stem wall has that rigid foam, and we came up here. The reason that we put this detail in is that one of the points of vulnerability from an insulation standpoint is right here at this spot. And the reason is because concrete has very little thermal value. So it doesn't hold anything in. So what happens a lot of times in a basement where it's a walkout or a slab on grade is what you'll find is that the perimeter of that basement, it's going to feel colder than the other parts of it here. So what we did, kind of as a compromise, I got a little bit of this from reading some information on Green Home Building Advisor, is the real key spot, if you're not going to do the whole thing underneath with foam, is to at least do the perimeter. Well, then you run into this other issue of how do you bring the slab up to it. And so what they've done is cut this foam at a 45 degree angle so that we can bring the slab kind of right to the top of this here. And you still get that thermal value, but then your finished slab can come to that spot there. So something to think about if you're in this, especially a slab on grade house, or if you're in a situation where you have a walkout basement and part of your slab is going to be at grade, meaning you have no earth that is giving you sort of an extra layer of insulation and protection. So let me know what you think about that, or if you have any thoughts on how you would do it. And I'll catch you next time, hopefully with some video of this pour. That should be a fun one. And the following day, we're going to be framing, so things are moving along super fast.